Here to take us through the papers is Deeptika Laurent. Hello, Deepti.
Hi, Claire.
We're going to start with reactions in Zimbabwe to the deadly post-election violence there.
That's right. No official results out yet, but Robert Mugabe's successor, Emmerson Mnangagwa, is claiming victory. This sparked clashes with police and claims of electoral fraud from the opposition. The state-owned Zimbabwean paper, The Chronicle, is, not surprisingly, pointing the finger at the opposition leader, Nelson Chamisa, and his MDC Alliance party. Here on their front page, Harare mayhem, the paper says, as the MDC Alliance goes on a rampage. They describe the opposition protesters as hoodlums, drunk, drugged, and armed, who attacked people and stoned property. That's in this opinion piece from the same paper. The writer also takes aim at Nelson Chamisa, saying, I quote, "The people of Zimbabwe spoke loud and clear in a peaceful manner. It's unfortunate that Chamisa thinks he can subvert the will of the people."
Now, you've found an independent Zimbabwean paper telling quite a different story.
That's this publication is Newsday, and they say that actually the soldiers drove their armored vehicles into the streets and indiscriminately fired at anyone, describing the protesters as singing and dancing. So far from the menacing portrayal we just saw in the other paper, The Chronicle, there's also some interesting analysis about Mnangagwa himself. This is from the British daily The Times, which explains that he's gone to great lengths to open up Zimbabwe to the world, and if he claims victory and then cracks down on the opposition, it would look really bad and undermine his international credibility. So it appears his reaction for the moment is to lay low and play for time.
All right, let's turn our attention now to China, where Google is allegedly developing a censored version of its search engine for the local market.
Well, if true, it's pretty scary, Claire. These revelations coming from an investigative website called The Intercept that says this search engine would block terms like human rights, democracy, peaceful protest, and religion. This is according to documents procured by the website from a whistleblower. Now, this project has been in the works apparently since last year. Obviously, the main issue being implications for internet freedom and freedom of information. One researcher telling the website that it would set a terrible precedent for companies who are trying to do business in the lucrative market that is China, and also resist censorship at the same time.
Now, the highest maths prize, the Fields Medal, has been awarded in Rio de Janeiro.
That's right. It's a 1-in-4-year prize. It's been awarded to 4 recipients, 4 mathematicians this year. This prize is actually traditionally handed down to those under 40 years of age. The recipients are Alessio Figali, Peter Schultz, who is the youngest ever recipient at just 30 years old, an Indian-Australian man called Akshay Venkatesh, who began his science degree at the tender age of 13, and according to this article from the Daily Mail, solves problems so hard you can't describe them in English. So we do get an idea of his genius there. The 4th recipient is Kaushar Burka. He came to the UK as a Kurdish refugee from Iraq. Worth noting that the ceremony wasn't without its drama. The Brazilian paper O Globo reports that Burka's medal was stolen minutes after he received it. Apparently, there was a cameraman who was shooting footage of the ceremony, and he accidentally captured the whole thing on video. They're now looking for the suspect, who clearly is not a math genius.
Now, here in France, there are 2 rappers in police custody. They've been questioned by police over a brawl at an airport.
That's right. We're not actually talking about the story because, in a nutshell, 2 rappers getting into a big fight at a Paris airport. That's pretty much the crux of that story. But this article from the Huffington Post looks at internet reactions and how they're poking fun at the ridiculousness of the situation. They've also many users memeing a scene from that fight. The one on the left, I'll translate that. This is how this user feels. She feels pummeled by life, by her social duties, by her responsibilities. And on the other picture, you'll note there it's a Photoshop image of Emmanuel Macron from the World Cup celebrating. That picture itself went viral a few weeks ago. And here it appears to look like he's also partaking in the brawl. He is not, obviously. But I do feel that picture of Macron is going to follow us in memes in many months to come.
I think we'll see it around for a while indeed. Look, maybe the heat got to them because not everyone is coping very well with the heat here in France. There's a French tennis player who's been fined for an epic on-court tantrum.
That's right. He was actually in the US where it is also very hot, so I think the heat must be transatlantic. His name is Benoit Paire. He lost a point during the Washington Open, which is one of those lead-up tournaments to the US Open. In the video, he smashes his racket not once, but twice. He then picks up another racket and slams that one on the ground before he stomps on a chair. Happens to the best of us, right? An epic meltdown.
Speak for yourself, Deepti.
Well, just to follow up, he also tanked the last point, lost the match. It was a first-round match, by the way, so probably a good thing he didn't go too far in the tournament. Perhaps to redeem himself, he blew kisses at the crowd as he left the court. Not enough, though, to waiver a fine. The Washington Post says he'll have to fork over $16,500 for that tantrum. Talk about being hot-tempered.
Reminds me of, I think it was John McEnroe, who was known for his on-court tantrums. Yeah, so he's following in his footsteps. All right, thank you very much. Deepti. Now, if you missed some of that press review or you want to watch it again, do check out our website. It is, of course, France24.com. Take a look.